My name is David Henke and my occupation is self-employed retailer. 1995 we opened, but it was just one side of the shop, and this where we're standing became available I think 3 or 4 years later. It was like an art gallery. Things have changed a lot in the last 20 years. So yeah, it's a continually changing environment, and there was a clothes shop. There's a lad who used to work here and his partner who owned it. Luckily it's been snapped up by another clothes shop. It's a slow drip of small shops biting the dust, especially down the main high street. It's more and more expensive, whereas if you go further up the straight it can get cheaper, and there are incentives with the rates. We try not to be too niche, but I'd say it's mostly like, is it 16 to 24? But Lincoln's a small place, so we kind of try and put something for everyone.
No, but I've been in there.
I've never bought anything there, but I've been in there a few times to have a look. I think it's a bit on the pricey range, but I could see for someone with a bit more style than me would quite like it.
I think it's helped since the uni kind of got here, especially recent. Like now, there's a lot of people here studying, but obviously they have other priorities. But it's definitely been a good thing for Lincoln generally. We wash everything pretty much in the shop, so we're continually topping up based on how much we've sold. So obviously after the weekend we'll sell a bit more. Definitely you need to replenish your stock quite a lot, but it doesn't have to change as much as the high street multiples, because they're pushing a more fast fashion. I guess everyone can go where they want and has their own choice, including online, but it's fairly relaxed environment. Like I say, everything's washed, fixed, presented as well as we can, and then we rework a lot of things, tweak things, so that gives us a point of difference from probably a lot of vintage. It's relatively easy to open a vintage shop, I would say, but if you want to up your game, it's less easy, and it's difficult getting stock. There's a kind of a shortage, and more people are, especially with things like Depop, and there's a limited amount of stock, and there's a lot of people hunting that stock, so to speak. I think there's 4 vintage shops in Lincoln now. I mean, vintage is allegedly supposed to be something 30 years old, but the term gets confused and used. I mean, a lot of the stuff we sell is not 30 years old, but I think people call it vintage, so you go along with it. So I'm grouping in 3-4 shops. It could make Lincoln more of a destination. If you don't live here, or if you do live here, you might be like, let's go out and check out the vintage shops rather than a vintage shop, which is my kind of what it might have been when we first started.
Independent shops, because they help the local economy.
Independent. We tend to have a better selection of clothes, which you can't find elsewhere. So if I was in another place, say Coventry, I wouldn't see any of that.
Do you think you need an online presence to keep up energy?
I think it's something we've neglected, and we will do in the new year. I think we'll just get the December period out of the way, focus on like the Christmas market's really big, and then start looking into doing something like it. But it's a lot of work. I've dabbled with it before, but it is quite, if you do it, I know people who do it exclusively, and it is quite time consuming. People, they're kind of torn between convenience, time, and they also still like the experience to go out and shop, and also they can try stuff on, because almost everyone has bought something and then it comes through the post and it doesn't fit, or it's a disappointment for whatever reason. Whereas if you come in here, or bricks and mortar store, I think is what they call them, you can obviously see what you're buying, feel what you're buying, and have potential to bring it back if the shop has a good return policy. But conversely, you can get things cheaper online because someone hasn't got necessarily to pay for a physical building and all of the rates, and there's a lot stacked against a retailer these days.